Superstars program. Just some housekeeping. I'm going to introduce, us, what we do, how we have been doing in the past months, in the past years, and then we can jump right into the question session, which is going to be the exciting part. And for this, I'm going to share my screen. One second. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and or write it into the chat. My colleagues are also present in this call, and we're going to address all questions you have. Perfect. To kick it off and introduce everything, I want to start off by introducing the group. So who are we? We are basically a venture capital firm doing two things. On the one hand side, we invest with ticket sizes up to 500,000 euros together with our micro fund, Blockchain Founders Capital. And on the other hand side, we run an incubator, basically finding, scouting entrepreneurs, people who want to build something in the near future. And we consolidated the program. And together with you, potential founders and entrepreneurs, will then launch your venture within 10 to 12 weeks. Briefly to our background. So on this slide, you can see the board of directors on the left-hand side, people from regulation, from venture capital, from serial entrepreneurship, people from very successful backgrounds. And on the right-hand side, we also have our executive partners, all located in Central Europe, in Germany to be precise, in German-speaking countries. And of course, we have our incubation team, myself, my colleagues, Zheng, Melissa, Albert, Elias, and Jonah. Together with this team, we have already invested in over 15 startups, basically built from scratch, built up a valid business model, validated it together with our partners and ecosystem. And then in the end, we also invested, of course. Also, a few words to our advisors. We are very well connected in the Central European space, contracted over 20 advisors, high caliber people. You can check them out. Feel free to check them out on our website. These are people from venture capital investors, angel investors alike. Also, of course, people from law, regulation, and of course, into enterprise. And what does it give us? It gives us market insights. It gives us an overview of what's hot in the market. And of course, it offers the opportunity to connect you, potential founders of our portfolio, future portfolio, to be connected to these people. So now jumping into, what we do, right? The incubation program is pretty straightforward. We're very flexible. And essentially you come in as, with empty-handed. You can have a team, you can have an idea, but you can also not have a team and not have an idea. We will together, go through ideation. We will establish a business case. And if it makes sense, we will proceed and of course fund it. You will receive a slight compensation during the program. It's a small stipend to keep you above water, so you don't have to survive from nothing, and your time is also compensated in a way. So that's what we offer. Besides market validation, business validation, we also provide access to our network. We are very well connected to major blockchain players. You will have direct access to protocols that will join our workshops, that will get in touch with you. You will get in contact with grants managers and all sorts of people to help you and support you on your way to create a Web3 venture. And here, a brief outlook. The deadline is quite soon. I believe it's less than or just more than a week. And we are going to accept applications and then close it in a week. And then we will do our internal evaluation of the candidates. And then we will pick around 50 to 70 people to join our cohort and together. So you will be joined with peers who are very high performing, who have the same goals of establishing $1 million company in the next few weeks. And then you will go through the building phase, and then in the end you will pitch and potentially get 60,000 euros in funding to kickstart. Here also a brief outlook of who we look out for. Basically, very various, very diverse sort of people who have been working for plus 10 years, who are students, right? We don't really discriminate in any way. As long as you perform, we don't really care who you are, what you do, where you come from. We are also remote first, international first. We don't really care who you live, where you live. I myself am in South Korea, working from here. It works very well. The whole BFG team is remote, and all our founders are also remote, tuning in remotely. Finally, in the past cohorts, we have received over now even 700 applications actually. We have worked with over 100 founders. We have again invested in over 15 startups so far. We're also covered by some major news outlets. And yeah, here, how do we work? We have weekly sessions. We call it crunch sessions, so that those are weekly workshops to track progress, to guide you on the way of what topics are important for your your way, your path. And then we have tactical workshops, and those will address things that deviate from the normal, right? For example, how to build your community, your Web3 community, how to keep them engaged, some best practices hands-on, and we'll also the speakers will provide templates of how you can approach such challenging situations. And then we will have a wrap-up every end of the week to discuss how your progress is going, and we will give direct feedback to your progress, to your challenges, so that you have a very high frequency feedback mode. And that is about it. It was very compromised. All the details are on the website, and therefore I don't want to speak too much and open the round for any questions that you might have. So I believe there is already a question in the chat. Does the stipend vary based on core team and development costs, or is it fixed for everyone? It's fixed for everyone, but you can submit requests. For example, let's say you're proceeding really fast, and you come to the stage where you need to develop an MVP, and maybe that MVP is crucial for your business development. In that case, we can consider funding that MVP development, 10, 20K. We can give it up front if it's reasonable. So all such things are really flexible. Also feel free to unmute yourself, and then we can have a dialogue as well. Otherwise, I'm gonna read from the chat. Victor, you just unmuted yourself. Want to say something?
Yes, thanks, Max, for the nice presentation. I have a question regarding people that are in a kind of a different situation. Imagine that I have a project that can be turned into a startup. Would you recommend for those people, applying with that in mind, or just applying and studying that possibility later on?
Yeah, I think there are 3 stages that we have to look at here, right? You have, the pre-seed stage. Basically, you don't have an idea at all. You're just coming in as an entrepreneur who wants to found soon. Those are, our primary targets, because you start from scratch. You really start from scratch. And then you have people who already have an MVP, maybe some really small revenue growth and a user base. That is already, in my opinion, maybe too far, because you might already have early signs of product market fit, and you might just get more funding and apply for direct funding. That's possible, but then that's not the program, that's direct funding. And then you have the stage in between. So you don't have revenue, you don't have an MVP, but you have a team and you have been working on a project for, let's say, 100 hours or so. That is a tricky stage. So you're a bit too advanced for the program, but you are not ready for VC funding yet, because you don't have any traction. In that case, you can still participate, because then we will simply skip a few sessions and challenge you directly. right? And then you can, you don't have to buy the domain anymore because you have it already. So we'll skip all these like sessions, and then we will have individual feedback and challenging sessions to validate whether there's a business case that we would be interested to invest in. I hope that answers the question.
It does. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Okay. Olu Vashina, you have a question.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think I want to find out if my team is qualified and how best we can participate in this program. So we have a team of about 6-7 people. We've launched our web application. We're rolling out our 100 on iOS in a few weeks, and we've gotten some grant funding of about $30,000 from Near Protocol. But we don't have any revenue, and we're just trying to get users for our products. So I wanted to find out how best we can participate in this.
Very interesting stage. I think that's exactly the tricky stage that we want to call it. You are very like close to pre-MVP, but you're not post-MVP. So in that case, I think that's definitely worth to discuss, right? All I can say is, without knowing any details, please apply, and then we'll have a look at your case, and then we make a decision. But that's definitely a stage that we'd be interested in.
Awesome, thank you.
Perfect. Then Pia.
Okay, hey. So my question is, we basically have a very, very big idea, and it's very blockchain and crypto involved, but the basic idea also is some other kind of investment. So my question is, it depends on other regularities as well, other countries. To sum it up, we had the idea that we would like to build a digital nomad or sovereign individual community by buying some land and tokenize it and have everything in crypto infrastructure. So this is the basic idea. Would that be the correct fit for the program, or are we at the wrong program for that?
It sounds like investment DAO, if I understood it right. Generally, of course, that's interesting. And I would be happily look into the details. So from the first impression, yes, that is something that we would be interested in, and feel free to apply, and then we'll have a look.
Okay, and the second question, sorry, that's very specific as well, since I'm on my way. Officially, I'm still in Germany, but actually I'm not. I live as a digital nomad for a lot of years now, and I want to go the step further to be a real sovereign individual now. So this would be my first step. So from April on, I have planned it to be without residency from April on. Would that be a problem? I know it's a very special case, but yeah, that's the next question.
Yeah, that's indeed a challenge. I think what you have to keep in mind is by the time you want to receive VC money, right, and or money from the traditional world, you need to be able to legally found an entity. You need to be legally be able to receive money from these traditional firms, and we are. We are in the transition, right? We're not really fully Web3, we're not fully crypto, but we're Web 2.5 maybe, if you want to say it. So we still deal with fiat money, and if you don't have a residency, then that's going to be a challenge, because you're not eligible to found a legal entity. Maybe that's going to be challenging because you don't have a passport or whatever the case might be. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. In my opinion, it's still worth to explore, because if the idea is good, then we will find a way, right? But just keep it in mind. That will lead to hurdles, private on a private side. So, but for me, it's definitely not a roadblock. Definitely.
And sorry, my last question, then I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah.
So would you recommend me to apply for this cohort, or maybe work on that idea and sort out my things personally first, and maybe apply for only the next cohort?
I think you should apply now, because I don't believe in waiting. The crypto world is moving really fast. And if you wait, 3 or 5 more months, then maybe the train is already gone and you missed your chance, right? I believe don't wait, just apply. If there's a fit, we will find a way to make it work.
Okay, very cool. Thanks a lot.
Welcome. Then let's pick a question from the chat. I have an idea, DAO-based social business, and my main concern is to find a tech-savvy blockchain co-founder to create a company that can attract impact investors. Is that the right format? Yes. So we do have a lot of different people that we accept into the program. We believe that the optimal team is consisting of a CEO type of person, a salesperson, and a CTO type of person, so a tech person. And what we see a lot is that a single CEO type of person joins the program and a single CTO type of person joins the program. And our goal is to, match or at least help you match with the person that you need in your team to be successful with any idea. So if you're single and you're actually looking for a co-founder, then that's also, the perfect ground to connect and mingle. That answers the question. Then we have another one.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Then we have another question. Do you only do equity deals or also token investments? Again, here, I think the basic and the general rule is as long as there's conviction in the idea, we will find a way to make it happen. So as of now, we have done 95% of our investments equity-based deals. But, if you are a really good founder and you have a really good idea, then we will also, of course, do token investments. Okay, then another one. Delts, you have a raise your hand.
Yeah, 2 questions. First, thanks for the presentation, Max. So the first question was, is this sector agnostic, or is there because I see different trends at different times with crypto, would you be favoring the more favorable, the AI, or is it, just about the power of the idea and the startup?
Very good question, by the way. I like your profile picture. Ready Player One. Regarding sector preference, I think we are generally totally agnostic, but of course, we as a team, every beginning of a trend, we sit together, we come up with a thesis where we might think that will be the trend. So definitely there's seasonal preferences. So I think what's now really hot, obviously, is AI. I think a lot of trends are already gone, so you're already too late for a lot of business ideas in the AI sector. But there's still so much room, and we cannot, fully anticipate, of course, what's going to be hot in 6 to 18 months. But we have an idea. So yes, there is a preference, but generally we're agnostic.
Thanks, Max.
Welcome. Then Oliver, you're raising your hand.
Thanks. So I have a question. So we actually already raised a bit of money with a VC before, and the valuation is a bit high back in that time, before we have a crash. So if we join this program, do we have to lower the valuation, or somehow we can work around that? Any advice here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if the valuation is not ridiculously high, if it's not 10 million, then we can work with it. But I do have to say there is a preference towards teams that really are in the early stages. If you already raised money, then that would imply that at least you are in a sort of later stage. So you, as a founder, you have to make up your mind, right? If it's worth to lower valuations, also with regards to what your investors expect from you, right? So, but generally, without knowing the details, not sure. But we have seen the case, right? There were teams that had lowered the valuation. It wasn't very big. For these teams, those were strategic decisions to participate in the program. So, to give you a concrete example, they came in with the valuation of 2.5, and they pitched to us at a 2 million valuation. And for us, that's what we have to negotiate.
All right, thanks.
Welcome. Okay, so let's jump to the next question. Do you need to have an idea? No, you don't have to have an idea. Are we working? Okay, sorry. Are we to be solely working on this project during the duration, or can we work on other things? Okay, so I think this question is is related to if you can do a full-time job on the side or something else. Yes, of course you can do your full-time job still and have the program on the side. But in the end of the day, right, you have to ask yourself, are you able to build $1 million company while you still work somewhere full-time, right? Or while you do 10, 15 other side projects. And the probability is really high. You don't really see successful founders who have 2, 3 projects at the same time. But we also saw cases where people actually did it and they performed really well. And from our side, if you perform well and it works out, then we don't have a problem with anything. Okay, what share do you take if the idea is successful? Yeah, that's also a question of negotiation. So in the end of the day, we will have the pitch session that will be in front of our investment committee, and then we will negotiate the valuation and also an investment amount. So the benchmark, however, shows that we have invested around 60 to 100K for around 3 to 10%. So anything within this range is possible. How long does it take to fill out the form? If you do it on a daily basis, maybe 15 minutes. If it's the first time, maybe 60 minutes. Are your program advisors located in Germany or other areas in the European Union? Most of them are in Germany, yes, but I would say we're quite well connected in Central Europe. So Switzerland, Liechtenstein. We also have some advisors in UK, so quite well connected. All right. Let's see. Depending. Okay, that's an answer. Again, you can also unmute yourself if you have anything you want to ask directly. So, do you provide support and advice to legally establish the company at a location of our choice? That depends. So we recently funded a founder who's based in India. We have not invested in any Indian companies, nor have we founded one. In that case, we got back to our network and checked whether we know anyone in India. And yes, we knew somebody, a law firm in India. So yes, our network does potentially have experiences in founding companies in other countries. But I have to say that we're most familiar with the Germany legal system. So we know the contracts that are established in Germany. We know, how to deal with work contracts, with managing director services agreements. We know how to found a company really efficiently. So that's definitely a main choice of country, but we don't really care where you found the company. Jomet, you have a question.
Hi, Max. I'm audible. Hi, Max.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah. So our startups have got some unique propositions. So how do you propose to take up every propositions, and how do you provide because they may be having some unique propositions and unique ideas, and how do you take every ideas into the market? Because we'll be talking a lot, we will be presenting a lot, we'll be pitching a lot. So how do you process all those unique propositions, and how do you make sure that those ideas are not
Yeah, I think I have to here, speak for my team. Our team is really, really deep in the Web3 space, right? So when we see value propositions, generally we have a pretty good idea of whether it works or not. But I have to mention here that the idea is, in our opinion, secondary. What's much more important is how the founder performs, right? In the end, you can have the best idea, but if you cannot do marketing, then nobody will see it, right? So I think what our primary focus here is to identify the best performing entrepreneurs that we would want to see and invest in to further build that path.
Okay, thank you, Max. And one more thing, Max.
Yeah.
If you are selected in this particular cohort, what will be the proposition? Do we have to change our country, or we can base our operations in the current country that we are coming from, or we need to relocate?
No, you're completely free.
Okay.
We're very flexible here. Okay. There is another question.
Yes. Hello, Max. How are you?
Very good.
I wanted to know, will you wait until February 17th to inform interested applicants that they are able to move on, or will you do a rolling type of informing, since some may have applied, a while ago?
Yeah, actually, good question. We are finalizing the first round today. So we do have a bunch of applications already, and we have to start now. And therefore, the first feedback will probably land in your mailbox by end of this week, latest by Monday.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the question. Okay, let's see. Are you looking for particular profiles, or are the profiles that are more like, and are there profiles that are more likely to succeed? Yeah, also very good question. I think we definitely have a preference towards serial entrepreneurs, because those are statistically more likely to succeed in their future ventures, because it's not their first time. But we also in the past funded many first-time founders, right? And so it really depends, how do you perform during the program? What do you want to build? What is your impact? And how can you, how is the fit between also you as a founder and BFG, right? We have to be able to work together. You need to be able to receive our feedback. We need to be able to feel like we are supporting you. And so it's a mix of a lot of things: performance, synergies, interpersonal relationship. And so I think that is what we look out for. Right? Not a fixed answer, but it's a mix of everything. Okay, so will there be support for new investment rounds? Series A, B, C, and D? Is there a network of contacts for this? Yes. We are in the back end very well connected also to early stage investors, VCs, angel investors alike. And we, of course, as a venture capitalist ourselves, we have a very huge interest in making you successful for follow-on rounds. And our investors trust us. Our investors are, we've been connected to them for years, so they know us. And when you at some point do your seed round, your Series A, pre-Series A or B round, then of course we will have our contacts that will support you for any potential follow-on round that you might do. Okay, can a project have a hybrid business model in terms of cutting across Web 2 and Web 3? So potential users don't want to do crypto now, won't be left behind. So I think in this case, as long as you have a Web3 focus in a slight or deep way, we'll be interested. So for example, there is a company that we funded. They are doing educational training programs at scale. Basically, they take Web2 people and train them, make them Web3 ready. And so that's not really deep tech or anything, right? But it's dealing and it's solving something that the Web3 space is failing with, basically workforce, right? So they deliver Web3 workforce for the industry, and that's and we funded it. So I think something in the intersection is also in our field of interest. Okay, what's in for BFG? Well, we invest and we get equity. Okay. do I have to contact BFG if there is a major development on my end after I submitted the application? Yeah, for sure. If there's any like major change, feel free to send me an email or my team an email to announce it. That'd be interesting. I am not a European Union's resident, but our firm is registered in Estonia and we have a bank account there. Can we receive funding this way? Yes. We send money to India. We will be able to send money to Estonia. Perfect. What if we require more time to build the perfect solution? I think we don't want the perfect solution. There's never going to be a perfect solution. So if you're a perfectionist, I think your number one to do is to not to become not a perfectionist, because perfectionists will waste a lot of time making something perfect. And so to answer the question, try to build something as best as you can and then ship it out. Don't waste more time. See the market reaction and then optimize from there. That is always the advice we give. Ship, get feedback, optimize based on feedback. Kai, you have a question.
Hey, Max, thanks for the presentation. The question I have is, if we don't succeed to reach a product market fit, can we try again or rejoin the program again on a different cohort, or do we just continue?
So also good question. If you have been accepted to the BFG cohort, you will enjoy a lifetime membership with us. So we will know you. If you write us an email, you're not a stranger anymore. And so in the past, we have had people who pitched, who we rejected, or postponed for some reason. And then they came back 1-2 months later, and then we funded them. So, and that's simply put the case. You will know us, and we'll always have, we will always have an open ear towards your developments. And then if you're ready, then we can talk about it again, very, in a very uncomplicated way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you too. Then Ojin, you have a question.
Hi, Max. How are you doing?
Good. Hope you're good too.
Max, I've got two questions. One is regarding the business proposition. You spoke that it had to be a Web3 incentivized idea and a business model. What if it is a combination of Web3 but bringing a social cost into the whole paradigm? Is that something that you guys would accept?
Yes, definitely. Anything that's intersecting with Web3, we could consider.
Perfect. Now coming to the second question, when it comes to valuation of an early stage idea and a business model, 90% of the time investors locally understand valuations based on competitor analysis or similar businesses in the local region. What if we also include international models of business, which has already been launched, or are very similar and has scaled exponentially? Can we use that as a benchmarking valuation?
Good question. I think you should never base your valuation on competition. I mean, yes, you could, arguably you could, but in the end, it's dependent on you. So the founder, if you perform well and you demonstrate traction that may be similar to your competitors, you could at least orientate, right? But you have to perform as well, right? So you have the power to grow a business and then quote a valuation that you feel fit with.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Max.
Welcome. All right, then we have another question. Is the monthly wage of 2,000 euros paid to the founding team or to each person? To each person. If we already have an idea, but we are looking for a co-founder as a blockchain developer, do you think this program can be the right path to follow? Yes. So again, if you are somebody who is looking for a team, that's definitely where we can help, because we do have a huge network of potential people who want to work, who are just looking for co-founders. And so if you cannot find them within the program, we'll make sure that you find it outside the program, and then we get this person into the program. Okay, so Coco, you were raising your hand.
Okay, good morning. I want to ask if how has the success rate been, in terms of aligning co-founders? For example, we can be spread across the world, and also our values and our ethics may be different. So what's like the success rate been, in having someone you don't know as a co-founder on a Web3 project?
Yeah, very good question. That's if I answer this one, then we probably have to extend the meeting. I think that's a very very deep question. There's no perfect answer, but what we try to look out for is that you are complementary to each other. So if you have two very introverted tech person, then that might not be the best fit. In the best case, you try to identify what you are lacking as a founder and get a co-founder that is completing you in that way. And yeah, if you find the person in, let's say you are in the program, you go a couple of weeks in, and you find your potential co-founder within the cohort or outside the cohort, you bring them in, and then it's really up to you to get to know this person, because in the end you will be sharing possibly half the equity with this person. So gotta make a really, really careful choice.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, should we send the pitch slides soon? Yes, if you do have a pitch slide, please send it with your application. Can you help me find a technical or mathematical co-founder? Yes, we can help, right? But I think we get asked this question quite a fair amount of time. I think what's important here to understand is you are the founder and you are looking for the co-founder, right? So it's your job to inspire the person. It's your job to source the person. We can of course distribute your job offer with our network. That's no question. But you need to do the 90% of the work, right? So we can accelerate, but we cannot do the work for you. If you match a co-founder invest, but there's a dispute later, how will the dispute be handled? Also very good question. I think disputes get complicated if you failed with the structure, right? To put it this way, let's say you and your friend, you found a company, you tell your friend, you purchased the domain, I purchase the CRM software, and then at some point you get funding, you put everything up, and then you have a dispute and you just hate each other. Now it happened a lot of times, it happens all the time, and the crucial point here is who purchased what and where is the IP, right? What belongs where? And so we saw situations where IP was purchased by the private person and not by the company, and therefore when these disputes happened, it was really hard to get an account back. It was really hard to get the Twitter account back. It was really hard to get the domain account back because it was registered by a private person. And what we will teach you and what we will show you is how do you put together a company the right way so that these disputes won't have a really heavy impact on your daily business. When it comes to shares, it's also there are ways to solve or prevent these disputes. If you think about, let's say, 50% share, and then you're fighting, and then you go away. In that case, if you don't have any contracts in place, then it's really hard to get back the 50%, right? But we will offer you some templates, but contracts that will have certain clauses in place that will account for these situations. It's a 40 pages document. It's really thorough. Again, that's how we support you, right? To establish really well-structured systems so that disputes, in case they happen, can be prevented to be, become unfortunate for the company. I hope that answers the question. Okay, perfect. Let's check YouTube for any questions. But okay, Coco, you're raising your hands.
No, I'm sorry. It was an error.
Oh, okay. All right. There is another question. What is so special about BFG Superstars program and compared to other incubation programs? I think, yeah, we get that also asked a lot. I think what you will get with BFG Superstars is, again, very, very frequent and intense consultation and support with your business model. Our whole team is totally Web3 native. I think there are only a handful of incubation programs that do have Web3 native business development people. So if you, just to give an example, there are very famous, incubators that are 20 years old, very reputable, but they're not Web3 native, right? They're coming from Web2, and now maybe they have a Web3 branch, and therefore I think that's not their specialization, and Web3 is our specialization. So with us, you will get really deep insights into Web3 only business models. And that's, I think, something that speaks for, let's call them Web3 incubators. Okay, it seems like we're close to the end of this session. I left my screen on the whole time, the screen sharing. If you have any more questions, feel free to connect with me via email, via LinkedIn, quite approachable, and then we can discuss anything from there. Otherwise, feel free to also apply. We will check it again and check your application. And hopefully I can see some faces again in 3 weeks from now. Thank you for tuning in, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.